The walls are closing in on Prince Harry, and this time the threat isn't coming from the palace, the press, or even his estranged brother. No, this bombshell is coming from inside his own Montecito mansion, and sources say it's the most terrifying thing the Duke of Sussex has ever faced. Meghan Markle, the woman he abandoned his family for, the woman he defended against the entire British monarchy, is now allegedly threatening to unleash an explosive tell-all that could destroy him completely. And here's the twist that has palace insiders absolutely reeling. This isn't about exposing royal secrets or settling scores with King Charles and Prince William. This is about Harry himself, his private struggles, his darkest moments, and the marriage that insiders claim is crumbling faster than anyone imagined. Word on the street is that Meghan has been quietly stockpiling ammunition for years, documenting every argument, every breakdown, every vulnerable moment Harry has experienced since they got together. Those black and white photos she released without his consent, the ones that showed a hollow-eyed Harry looking utterly defeated. Insiders whisper that was just a warning shot, a tiny glimpse of what she's really sitting on. Palace sources are reportedly in full panic mode because unlike Harry's memoir Spare, which they could prepare for and manage, this potential expose is coming from the one person who knows absolutely everything. The woman who shares his bed, who witnesses his 3 a.m. anxiety spirals, who's been there for every tear, every regret, every moment of weakness he's tried to hide from the world. The timing couldn't be more suspicious either. Just as Meghan's American Riviera orchard venture crashes and burns, just as Hollywood continues to slam doors in her face, just as the Netflix deal hangs by a thread, suddenly there's talk of her most explosive project yet. A tell-all that doesn't attack the royals, but instead pulls back the curtain on Prince Harry, the real man behind the carefully crafted victim narrative they've been selling for years. Sources close to the situation claim Meghan sees this as her golden ticket back to relevance, her insurance policy, her ultimate leverage. And Harry, according to those who've worked alongside him, he's absolutely terrified. But here's what makes this situation so devastating for the Duke. He burned every bridge, severed every family tie, destroyed every meaningful relationship he had, all to protect Meghan from exactly this kind of exposure. He wrote a book trashing his family, gave interviews painting his father and brother as villains, chose her over everyone and everything he'd ever known, and now, rumor has it, she's preparing to do to him what he did to them. The royal family might have seen Harry's betrayal coming, but even they couldn't have predicted this level of ruthlessness. The question everyone's asking now is simple. What exactly does Meghan Markle have on Prince Harry that's got the palace losing sleep? Behind the carefully staged Instagram posts and the coordinated public appearances, sources say the Sussex marriage is hanging by the thinnest of threads. Those perfect photo opportunities where they're clutching each other's hands? Insiders claim that's pure theater, a desperate performance designed to convince the world that everything's fine when the reality couldn't be more different. The cracks have been showing for months now, with Harry jetting off to charity events solo while Meghan focuses on her failed business ventures, both of them living increasingly separate lives under the same Montecito roof. Palace watchers have noticed the pattern. Separate schedules, separate projects, separate appearances, and the whispers have grown louder. This isn't a power couple dividing and conquering. This is a marriage in crisis. Sources close to the situation reveal that Meghan has been meticulously documenting their relationship from the very beginning, treating their marriage like a business transaction that might need receipts later. Every argument, every disappointment, every moment Harry expressed regret about leaving the royal family, she's allegedly kept records of it all. Some insiders even suggest she's been secretly recording conversations, capturing footage without his knowledge, building a comprehensive archive of their life together. It's the kind of behavior that speaks to someone who's always thinking 3 moves ahead, someone who knew from day one that she might need leverage someday. And that day, according to those in the know, might be approaching faster than anyone expected. The separate lives narrative isn't just tabloid speculation anymore. People who've observed them behind the scenes paint a picture of 2 individuals who can barely stand to be in the same room unless cameras are rolling. Harry retreats into his veteran charity work, flying across continents to feel useful and escape the suffocating atmosphere at home. Meghan throws herself into networking events and business meetings, constantly chasing the next big deal that will finally deliver the success and adoration she craves. When they are together, sources say the tension is palpable, the conversations strained, the warmth that once existed between them completely evaporated. Friends from their early days together claim they don't even recognize the couple anymore. What's particularly chilling is how long Meghan has allegedly been preparing her insurance policy. This wasn't a recent decision born from desperation. Sources suggest she's been thinking about this possibility since the Oprah interview backlash, since the moment she realized that playing the victim wasn't delivering the Hollywood acceptance she'd been promised. She watched Harry's family cut them off, watched their celebrity friends distance themselves, watched deal after deal fall through, and somewhere along the way she apparently decided she needed protection. Not from the royal family or the media, but from the possibility that Harry himself might become a liability. The question palace insiders are now asking is haunting. If Meghan's been documenting everything for years, building her case, gathering her evidence, what exactly is she planning to do with it? And more importantly, what secrets has she uncovered that even Harry's own family doesn't know about? The footage exists, and according to insiders who've caught glimpses behind the Montecito curtain, it's devastating. We're not talking about carefully curated home videos or sweet family moments. Sources claim Meghan has compiled hours of raw, unfiltered material showing Harry at his absolute lowest, the kind of content that would shatter the carefully constructed narrative they've been selling to the world. Those moody black and white photographs she released without his permission, the ones showing a gaunt, hollow-eyed Harry staring into nothing, industry insiders say that was her shot across the bow, a calculated reminder that she holds the keys to his most vulnerable moments. And what she hasn't shared yet is allegedly far more damaging than anything we've seen. People close to the situation whisper about recordings of Harry's late-night breakdowns, moments when the weight of everything he's lost comes crashing down on him, the brother he'll never speak to again, the father who won't take his calls, the grandmother who died disappointed in him, all of it allegedly captured on film or audio. Sources suggest Meghan has documented Harry expressing profound regret about leaving the royal family, admitting that maybe Meghan pushed too hard, confessing that he misses his old life more than he ever imagined possible. These aren't rumors anymore, they're warnings being leaked by people who've seen the Sussex operation from the inside, and if even a fraction of this material exists, Harry has every reason to be terrified, but it gets worse. Insiders claim the archive includes evidence of Harry's ongoing mental health struggles that go far deeper than the therapy sessions he's publicly discussed. We're talking about alleged substance dependency issues, emotional volatility that erupts behind closed doors, anxiety attacks that leave him paralyzed for days. Meghan, according to these sources, has documented all of it with the clinical precision of someone building a legal case. Palace watchers point to how she's repeatedly referenced having receipts, keeping records, making sure her version of events can be proven. What nobody realized until now is that Harry himself was apparently the subject of this documentation all along. The most explosive allegations swirling through royal circles involve footage of Harry absolutely losing it during arguments, smashing things, spiraling into dark places that would shock anyone who still sees him as the cheeky prince who charmed the world. Sources suggest Meghan has captured moments that reveal a deeply troubled man, someone who made catastrophic decisions and now lives with the crushing consequences every single day. There's allegedly material showing Harry's isolation, his lack of real friendships, his complete dependence on Meghan for emotional support and guidance. The irony is brutal. Harry spent years accusing the palace of trapping him, but insiders claim the footage shows a man who's trapped himself in a California prison of his own making, with a wife who's been quietly documenting his descent the entire time. And now, with her back against the wall and her dreams of Hollywood domination in ruins, she's apparently ready to weaponize every single frame. Netflix gave Meghan Markle the platform, and now insiders fear she's about to use it in the most destructive way imaginable. The streaming giant paid the Sussexes $100 million for content, and after years of disappointing documentaries and canceled projects, the buzz in Hollywood is that executives are getting desperate for something, anything, that will justify that massive investment. Sources close to the negotiations claim Meghan has been pitching increasingly personal, increasingly explosive ideas, and the most recent concept allegedly centers on her unfiltered truth about life inside the Sussex marriage. Not a love story, not a fairy tale. A raw, unflinching look at what really happens when the cameras stop rolling and the palace gates close behind you forever. The timing is suspicious to anyone paying attention. Just as American Riviera Orchard becomes a punchline and her Hollywood comeback stalls completely, suddenly there's talk of Meghan's most intimate project yet. Industry insiders whisper that Netflix executives have been pushing for more controversial content, something that will generate headlines and drive subscriptions the way Harry and Meghan originally promised. The problem is they've already burned through the royal family drama. They've already done the victim narrative. What's left to exploit? According to sources, Meghan's answer is chilling. Herself and Harry, the real story, the one nobody's heard because they've been too busy playing the perfect united front. A documentary series that peels back every layer, exposes every crack, reveals every ugly truth about their relationship. Palace sources are reportedly horrified because Netflix gives Meghan something the traditional publishing world doesn't: complete creative control and a global platform with millions of subscribers. There's no editor to soften the blow, no legal team from a publishing house worried about lawsuits. Just Meghan with final cut and the ability to share her version of events exactly as she wants them seen. Word on the street suggests she's already been secretly filming, capturing footage under the guise of behind-the-scenes content for other projects but actually building her tell-all archive. Harry, according to insiders, had no idea the extent of what she was documenting or how she planned to use it. What makes this particularly devastating is that Harry himself championed their Netflix deal, believing it would give them financial independence and creative freedom. He thought they'd make inspirational content about mental health and veteran support. He never imagined, sources claim, that Meghan would turn the cameras on their marriage, on him, on the private moments he assumed were sacred. Industry insiders say Netflix executives are salivating at the prospect because a Meghan tell-all about Harry would be ratings gold. The world watched them fall in love, watched them leave the royal family, watched them build their California life. Now they'd get to watch it all potentially fall apart, narrated by the woman who lived it. And Harry, people who've worked with him say he's completely blindsided, realizing too late that the woman he sacrificed everything for might be his biggest betrayal yet. The platform is ready, the audience is waiting, and Meghan allegedly has hours of footage ready to go. King Charles and Prince William have weathered Harry's memoir, survived the Oprah interview, endured years of Sussex attacks on the monarchy, but sources inside the palace say this potential tell-all has them more terrified than anything that's come before. Because this time, it's not about defending the institution or managing public relations disasters. This is about watching Harry get destroyed by the woman he chose over his entire family, and there's absolutely nothing they can do to stop it. The nightmare scenario playing out in palace corridors isn't about protecting the crown, it's about watching a son and brother get eviscerated on a global stage by his own wife, and being powerless to intervene without making everything worse. Palace insiders reveal that what terrifies the king most is how a Meghan tell-all focused on Harry personally would obliterate any remaining possibility of reconciliation. When Harry attacked the family in Spare, there was at least the hope that someday, somehow, bridges could be rebuilt. But if Meghan exposes Harry's deepest vulnerabilities, his regrets, his private confessions about missing his old life, the humiliation would be so complete that Harry could never show his face in Britain again. Sources suggest King Charles has been quietly hoping that the Sussex marriage would collapse, freeing Harry to potentially return to the fold. But if Meghan goes nuclear on her way out the door, she'll make sure Harry has nothing and nobody left to return to. The legal teams at Buckingham Palace have allegedly been exploring every possible option to prevent publication, but the reality is sobering. Meghan is an American citizen operating on American soil with an American company. British royal authority means nothing in California courtrooms. Unlike the situation with Harry's memoir, where the palace could at least negotiate and prepare, this is completely beyond their control. And that's what's keeping William up at night. According to those close to the Prince of Wales, the thought that Meghan could release private footage, share intimate recordings, expose Harry's mental health struggles, and there's not a single thing the future king can do to protect his little brother from the fallout. What makes this infinitely worse than Spare is the source. Harry's book was his choice, his decision to burn bridges and air grievances. The family could be angry with him for that. But this is betrayal from the person Harry trusted most, the woman he defended against everyone, the wife he chose over blood and duty and crown. Sources say even William, who's written Harry off completely, feels a twinge of something watching this unfold. Not sympathy exactly, but a grim recognition that Harry's worst enemies were never the family he left behind. It was the people he surrounded himself with in Montecito. Palace insiders whisper that if Meghan does release this tell-all, it won't just destroy Harry's reputation, it will destroy any hope he ever had of coming home. And that, according to sources close to King Charles, is what breaks the father's heart most. Watching his son get systematically dismantled by his own choices, knowing the palace can't save him this time. Behind the carefully maintained facade, sources say Prince Harry is absolutely falling apart. People who've worked alongside him in recent months paint a picture of a man on the edge, someone who's finally waking up to the reality of his situation and realizing he's completely trapped. The panic, according to insiders, started the moment he discovered the extent of what Meghan has been documenting. Those private conversations he thought were sacred between husband and wife, allegedly recorded. Those vulnerable moments when he broke down about missing his family, potentially captured on film. Every regret, every doubt, every moment of weakness, all of it sitting in Meghan's archive like a loaded weapon pointed directly at his head. Sources close to the situation reveal that Harry has been desperately trying to placate Meghan, doing everything in his power to keep her from pulling the trigger on this nuclear option. He's reportedly agreed to support whatever business venture she dreams up next, promised to be more present for her networking events, even allegedly offered to do another round of royal family attacks if that's what she needs to feel powerful again. But insiders say it's not working. Meghan knows she has all the leverage now, and Harry's frantic attempts to appease her only seem to reinforce how much control she holds. The power dynamic in their relationship has completely flipped, and people who've observed them say Harry looks like a hostage negotiating for his own life. What particularly devastating is how isolated Harry has become. He burned bridges with childhood friends who warned him about Meghan. He destroyed his relationship with his brother, who tried to slow down the relationship. He's estranged from his father, who could have been his support system through all of this. Now, facing the biggest crisis of his adult life, Harry has nobody to turn to except the woman threatening to destroy him. Sources suggest he spends hours alone, spiraling into dark thoughts about how spectacularly wrong everything has gone. The life he thought he was building in California, the freedom and happiness he believed he'd find, all of it has turned into a gilded cage where his own wife holds the keys. Industry insiders who've encountered Harry recently say the change in him is shocking. The cocky prince who thought he could take on the world with Meghan by his side has been replaced by someone who looks defeated, exhausted, constantly on edge. He jumps at every mention of Netflix meetings, panics when Meghan has private phone calls, lives in constant fear that today will be the day she decides to release everything. People close to the situation claim Harry has tried reasoning with her, explaining that destroying him destroys their children's father, ruins any chance they have at maintaining dignity. But Meghan, according to these sources, sees things differently. She sacrificed her Hollywood dreams for him, and now those dreams are dead. If she's going down, insiders whisper, she's apparently determined to take Harry with her. And the Duke of Sussex, the man who once had the support of an entire nation, is completely powerless to stop her. The dominoes have been falling for Meghan Markle, and each failure has brought her closer to this desperate nuclear option. American Riviera Orchard, the lifestyle brand she hyped as her triumphant return to relevance, crashed spectacularly before it even properly launched. The jam samples sent to celebrities went unacknowledged, the trademark applications hit legal roadblocks, and the entire venture became a punchline on social media. Sources say Meghan was absolutely devastated, having convinced herself this would be her Martha Stewart moment, her proof that she didn't need royal connections to build an empire. Instead, it became yet another humiliating reminder that Hollywood has no interest in what she's selling. Then there's Netflix, the $100 million deal that was supposed to change everything. After years of underwhelming content and canceled projects, insiders claim the streaming giant is losing patience fast. The docuseries didn't deliver the numbers they expected. Meghan's animated series got shelved, and every pitch she brings to the table gets met with increasingly skeptical responses. Sources in the entertainment industry reveal that Netflix executives are now openly questioning whether the Sussex brand has any real value left. The couple was supposed to be content gold mines, but what they've delivered is expensive mediocrity that nobody's talking about. And for Meghan, who imagined herself becoming a major Hollywood power player, the rejection stings worse than anything the British tabloids ever wrote. The pattern repeats everywhere she turns. Spotify paid millions for her podcast and then publicly dumped her, with executives making humiliating comments about the Sussexes being grifters. Hollywood parties that once clamored for her attendance now happen without invitations reaching Montecito. A-list celebrities who posed for photos with her early on have quietly distanced themselves, their teams making it clear there's no benefit to being associated with the Sussex brand anymore. Even her attempts to reconnect with fashion world elites at events like Paris Fashion Week resulted in awkward photos where she's clearly not welcome in the inner circle. Meghan thought leaving the royal family would open doors, but sources say those doors have been slamming shut one by one. Industry insiders suggest that these mounting failures have backed Meghan into a corner where the tell-all has become her only play. She's tried playing nice, building businesses, networking her way back to relevance. Nothing has worked. The California dream she sold Harry on, the promise that they'd be bigger than the royal family ever allowed them to be, has completely collapsed. And now with her back against the wall and her options dwindling, sources claim she's looking at the one asset she has left that might actually be worth something. The truth about her marriage to Prince Harry, the private struggles, the documented breakdowns, the footage that could generate headlines for months. It's not the success story she wanted to sell, but insiders whisper it might be the only story people actually want to buy. And for a woman who's watched every other door slam in her face, that nuclear option is starting to look less like revenge and more like survival. The whispers coming out of Montecito paint a terrifying picture of what Meghan allegedly has ready to unleash. Sources claim the most damaging revelations won't be about royal racism or palace conspiracies. They'll be about Harry's private confessions that he made the biggest mistake of his life. Insiders suggest Meghan has recordings of Harry in his darkest moments, admitting that leaving the royal family destroyed him, that he misses his brother desperately, that the California dream turned into a nightmare he can't escape. These aren't vague rumors anymore. People who've been inside the Sussex operation say the footage exists, and it shows a broken man realizing too late that he sacrificed everything for someone who was documenting his collapse the entire time. But the revelations allegedly go much deeper than regret. Industry sources claim Meghan is prepared to expose Harry's complete dependence on her, painting a picture of a man who can't function without her controlling every aspect of his life. From what he wears to what he says, from which events he attends to which friends he's allowed to contact. Insiders suggest the material shows Harry as little more than a puppet who traded royal handlers for a wife who controls him even more ruthlessly. Palace sources have always suspected this dynamic, but seeing it confirmed through Meghan's own footage would be absolutely devastating. The world watched Harry walk away from everything for love and freedom. Now they might discover he found neither. The financial revelations could be equally catastrophic. Sources whisper that Meghan is ready to expose just how dire their money situation really is, how the lavish Montecito lifestyle is funded by increasingly desperate deals and dwindling resources. Insiders claim she'll reveal arguments about money, Harry's inability to provide the luxury she expected, the reality that without royal funding they're nowhere near as wealthy as they pretend to be. For a couple that spent years projecting success and independence, having their financial struggles exposed would shatter the entire carefully constructed image. And Meghan, according to sources, doesn't care anymore. If she's struggling, she's apparently determined to make sure everyone knows Harry can't take care of her the way he promised. Then there are the allegations about their parenting, a topic so sensitive that even royal watchers hesitate to discuss it. But sources suggest Meghan has material showing fundamental disagreements about how to raise their children, with Harry allegedly expressing concerns about keeping them so isolated from family and normal experiences. Industry insiders claim there's footage of arguments about the kids, about whether they should have relationships with the royal family, about Meghan's controlling approach to every aspect of their upbringing. For Harry, who grew up with the trauma of losing his mother and the dysfunction of royal life, having his parenting concerns weaponized against him would be unimaginably cruel. But perhaps the most devastating element insiders mention is the simple, brutal footage of Harry's day-to-day existence. No explosive fights or dramatic revelations, just the quiet reality of a man who looks dead behind the eyes, going through motions, trapped in a life that's killing him slowly. Sources say that footage, more than anything else, would destroy whatever remains of Harry's dignity. The burned bridges stretch across 2 continents now, and each severed friendship has pushed Meghan closer to this point of no return. David Beckham's recent knighthood was reportedly the final straw that broke something inside her. Sources close to the situation reveal that watching the Beckhams strengthen their relationship with King Charles while she and Harry remain frozen out has driven Meghan absolutely wild with jealousy. The couple who were once friends, who attended the royal wedding, who seemed genuinely warm with Harry, are now dining privately with the king and queen, while the Sussexes can't even get their phone calls returned. And Meghan, according to insiders, blames Harry entirely for losing that connection. The Beckham situation encapsulates everything that's gone wrong with Meghan's Hollywood strategy. Victoria Beckham landed a massively successful Netflix documentary, built a legitimate fashion empire, and maintained her relevance without ever attacking anyone or burning bridges. She did everything Meghan tried to do, except she actually succeeded. Palace insiders suggest that comparison eats away at Meghan daily, watching Victoria thrive in exactly the spaces where Meghan keeps failing. And now David's knighthood, his blossoming friendship with the king over shared interests like environmental conservation and architecture. It's everything Meghan thought she and Harry would have. The respect, the acceptance, the genuine integration into both royal circles and celebrity culture. But the Beckhams are just the most visible example of a much larger problem. Industry sources paint a picture of Meghan systematically alienating every A-list contact she once had. The accusations she threw at Victoria about leaking stories destroyed that friendship permanently. Her controlling behavior and constant demands for special treatment turned off Hollywood power players who initially wanted to help. Sources claim that behind the scenes, Meghan developed a reputation as someone impossible to work with, someone who expected queen treatment without having earned it through actual achievement. And now, after years of watching doors close and invitations dry up, she's apparently decided that if she can't have the celebrity success she wanted, she'll settle for celebrity notoriety instead. What makes this particularly tragic, insiders suggest, is that Harry's royal connections were supposed to be Meghan's golden ticket into elite circles. Instead, his departure from the family and their subsequent behavior made them toxic to the very people Meghan wanted to impress. Sources reveal that celebrities who maintain relationships with William and Catherine actively avoid the Sussexes now, not wanting to be seen choosing sides or risking their own standing with the future king and queen. Meghan thought she was marrying into the ultimate networking opportunity. What she got was a husband whose burned bridges became her burden to carry. The Beckham knighthood, according to palace watchers, represents everything Meghan has lost and will never get back. The respect, the honor, the genuine acceptance into society's highest circles. David has it all now while Meghan watches from Montecito, knowing she destroyed her only path to that world. And that realization, sources whisper, is what's fueling her apparent decision to go scorched earth. If she can't be celebrated, she'll settle for being talked about. If she can't have success, she'll weaponize her one remaining asset, the private truth about Prince Harry that nobody else can tell. The question hanging over Montecito now isn't whether Meghan will pull the trigger, it's when. Sources close to the situation suggest she's already made the decision, and what we're witnessing now is simply the strategic planning phase, figuring out timing, platform, and maximum impact. Industry insiders claim Netflix executives are in active discussions about format and release strategy, treating this potential project like the explosive content goldmine it could be. But palace watchers wonder if this is actually about releasing the material or if it's simply Meghan's ultimate leverage play, a nuclear threat designed to force Harry into complete submission or extract some kind of settlement that gives her the financial security her failed ventures couldn't provide. The divorce implications loom large over everything. Legal experts who specialize in high-profile separations suggest that Meghan's documented archive could be devastating in custody proceedings, potentially painting Harry as mentally unstable and dependent. But it cuts both ways. If she releases this material publicly, judges might view her as vindictive and willing to damage her children's father for personal gain. Sources whisper that Meghan is walking a tightrope, trying to threaten Harry into compliance without actually pulling the pin on a grenade that could blow up her own life just as spectacularly. The footage gives her power, but using it could make her look more villainous than any palace conspiracy ever did. Palace insiders are watching this unfold with a mixture of horror and grim satisfaction. King Charles never wanted his son destroyed, but there's an element of "we told you so" that's impossible to ignore. Harry chose Meghan over everyone who tried to warn him, and now he's potentially about to pay the ultimate price for that choice. Prince William, according to sources, has completely written off his brother at this point. If Meghan destroys Harry publicly, William reportedly won't intervene or offer sanctuary. The bridges are too burned, the betrayal's too deep. Harry made his bed in California, and now he'll have to lie in it, regardless of how uncomfortable it becomes. What this means for any potential reconciliation with the royal family is devastating. Even if Harry wanted to come crawling back after Meghan's tell-all, the humiliation would be too complete. You can't return to the institution you trashed after your own wife confirms you were lying about being happy, admits you have profound regrets, and exposes your mental health struggles to billions of people. Sources suggest that's exactly what Meghan might want, to make sure Harry can never leave her because he'd have nothing and nobody left to escape to. It's the ultimate insurance policy, mutually assured destruction that keeps them locked together. So here's the question that matters. Will Harry finally find the courage to stand up to the woman who's been controlling and documenting his every move? Or will he continue crumbling under the weight of threats and manipulation until there's nothing left of the prince he used to be? Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you won't believe what's coming next.